The name of the show is Real Estate Radio Los Angeles, but I thought it would be fun to look outside of LA and talk about real estate in another part of the country. Some of you might actually call it another country, but it's still part of the good old US of A. I'm speaking of Texas, Houston, Texas, that is. And joining us from the Lone Star State is Mark Maniha, a real estate agent with John Daugherty Realtors. Mark and I go way back. In fact, I've known him since we were in college together at Texas A&M, Giga Aggies. And in addition to being a proud Aggie, Mark is a third-generation Houstonian and has been selling real estate for 25 years, 18 of them with John Daugherty Realtors. Mark is also a top producer and will soon be hosting his own radio show in the Houston market. Mark Maniha, welcome to the show.
How are you?
I'm excellent. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on. That's quite a build-up. The country of Texas. I should be saying yeehaw.
That's right. Or
okay.
Howdy, y'all. Hey,
yeah, exactly.
All right, this would not be a normal conversation with you, Mark, if I didn't first ask you the thing I always ask you because I love goading you.
No.
What is the temperature like in Houston, Texas right now?
Oh, that's cruel coming from Southern California. So cruel. Yes, it's very humid here and very hot, although it's going to be raining today. So we're actually probably in the low 80s, I think, today.
Oh, that's actually...
so it's not terrible. You know, call me in August, and then you can really get a good laugh.
That's right. Well, you know why everybody doesn't live in Southern California, right?
Because they can't afford it?
Because they haven't been here yet.
I see. Okay.
Absolutely. But all kidding aside, I was born and raised in Houston, so I know the wonderful sticky weather, and there are 4 beautiful days a year in Houston. But
actually, I have to say, Todd, the nice weather in Houston has been building over the last several years. It's interesting. Our, quote, winter months from like November actually have spread. The cool weather has actually gone into early May, believe it or not.
Huh.
So we're getting better. We're sneaking up on Southern California, but we're not there yet for sure.
Not quite yet. All right, so Mark, I thought we'd play a little game today. I think it would be fun for my listeners for us to hear about what's available in Houston. So why don't you tell me about a property you can get in Houston, and tell me the price at the end? Okay, so I want you to explain it, describe it, maybe that one we talked about the other day. And then at the end, tell me the price, and then I'll tell you what you could get for that same price in the LA market. So go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, we have a property. It's actually in one of the more further suburbs from Houston, south of Houston, in Fresno, Texas. It's about 20 miles south of the Central Business District. It's about a 32-minute drive. This property, it's a over 15,400 square foot home built in '02 and completely refurbished in 2013. 7 or 8 bedrooms, 8 full baths, 3 half baths, 6-car garage, has an indoor basketball court, and it's on over 7 acres of land.
Okay. That's amazing. So I just want to pause for a minute here and let my listeners think, okay, what would that cost in the Los Angeles market? Okay. Now, Mark, please tell us in the suburbs of Houston, Texas, what can you get that for?
Todd, that property is currently listed at $2,395,000.
That's unbelievable.
Which would be a mere garage apartment in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so the people in the studio need to get up off the floor because they've just fallen over from shock. But yeah, that's quite amazing. So the list price on that was how much?
$2,395,000.
So $2 million. Okay, Mark, I just took a look here in the LA market, and I have found a $2.2 million listing. It's up in the Bird Street, so that's a very nice area above the Sunset Strip. And for let's see, your place was what, 15,000 square feet?
Yes,
okay.
A little over.
Okay. Well, for the same amount of money here in La La Land, I can get you a 2,700 square foot home on a 4,700 square foot lot. Not quite the...
Good grief.
How many acres were you talking about there?
That would be over 7, Todd.
Well, like I said,
enough for the cattle, all the things that people think that we in Texas always have.
And the oil well in the backyard, right?
Exactly. That's right.
That's funny. All right. Well, of course there are really nice areas in Houston, and we've wanted to show the difference there. But there's like a Beverly Hills of Houston, right? River Oaks.
That's right. River Oaks is sort of the old money area of Houston. We actually have several very posh neighborhoods of Houston, but River Oaks, is sort of the top.
All right. So do you have any homes from those neighborhoods that might be something my LA listeners might be able to relate to?
This one, I'm actually going to talk about one that not only is a home that would be a little bit more befitting of a lot of the high-end LA clients, but also it has a Hollywood tie to it.
Oh, well, let's hear it.
This would be a home in River Oaks. It is just under 12,000 square feet on 2.8 private acres. Interestingly enough, with all that, it's a 3-bedroom with 8 full baths and 4 half baths.
Wow.
But what's really neat about it are the grounds. It has this literally resort-like grounds, including not 1, not 2, but 3 swimming pools.
Wow.
Including one that is believed to be the largest or one of the largest private pools in the United States. It's man-made, but it's almost like a lake, but
Wow.
It's a swimming pool. It's so big, it has a boat in it. And I'm not talking about like a little kid's boat. I'm talking about like a bass boat.
Are you serious?
In the lake, truly. I almost think you could water ski in this swimming pool.
That's awesome.
Anyway, and also the Hollywood tie is in 1973. The film The Thief Who Came to Dinner, starring Ryan O'Neal and Jacqueline Bisset, was filmed here.
Oh, that's cool. That is a nice Hollywood tie.
A Hollywood tie, and it can be yours today for a list price of $14,500,000.
All right, now we are back in the LA prices. That's awesome. And that's right in River Oaks?
And that's right in River Oaks, so that's real near town. That's in our kind of old guard neighborhood, very close to downtown, right in town.
Beautiful
But
area.
interestingly enough, that's not the most expensive one.
Really?
Currently, even beating River Oaks right now is we have a home listed out in the Woodlands. Now, the Woodlands is a sparse suburban community that was built by oil man George Mitchell starting in the late 70s that has evolved into this absolutely gorgeous, large community north of Houston. It's about 33 miles north of Houston. It's about a 45-minute drive normally.
Right.
And there is a house out there on the market currently that was built in 2006. It's 30,700 square feet.
Wow.
On 4.2 acres. It's either 10 or 11 bedrooms with 13 full baths and 5 half baths, a 6-car garage, a 4-car carport, 3
Wow.
elevators, a movie theater. I mean, this is truly a home fitting Hollywood for sure. And it's currently on the market for 16.8.
Wow. Are
And
there?
that's really I was going to say that's really the height of Houston. Houston, our prices have come up. The market has been very strong here the last almost 3 years, and the prices have really come up. Houston has always been a very undervalued metropolitan area in comparison to other major cities in the United States. I don't know if it's the heat or what, but
The mosquitoes.
we are the 4th largest city, and the prices really have started to come up to where we are certainly not at LA levels, but we are not quite the value we used to be. Let's put it that way. And basically, we've had a few transactions that have maybe barely hit the 20 million mark, and I'm talking about I can count them on one hand.
Yeah.
Whereas in LA, of course, you've had the astounding fleur-de-lis transaction at over 100 million recently.
And
Talk about it.
There's a Houston connection there too, right?
There is a Houston connection. Yes, Suzanne Saperstein, the owner of that property, longtime Houstonian. She and her former husband, David Saperstein, who built Fleur-de-Lis. And I have to hand it to that lady. She stuck to her guns. She put it on the market and put a price on it, and she just sat there with her hands crossed and waited.
And then ended up selling it with multiple offers.
And ended up selling it with, really, I have to hand it to her. And hats off to Suzanne. And but we really don't see that in Houston. Like I said, we may top the 20 million or right at the 20 million mark, but we don't see anything past that yet.
Right. By the way, you're listening to Real Estate Radio Los Angeles, and I'm your host, Todd Jones. This is where we pull back the curtain and give you a behind-the-scenes look at real estate finance and offer you trusted advice. You can catch this show and past shows at my website at toddjonesradio.com. We're engaged in a riveting conversation with Mark Maniha from Houston, Texas. He's a realtor there, and he's telling us about some of the high-price stuff you can get in Houston. And I want to talk to him a little bit more about what the average Joe can get, because if you're listening and you're thinking about moving out of this beautiful state, or maybe you're being transferred to Houston, Mark would definitely be the guy to talk to. As you've heard him talk, you can see he is an expert in the area. One really cool thing about Mark is not only does he know real estate, and he's been doing it for 25 years, but he also has great stories to tell. He knows a lot of the history about the different areas and the homes themselves. And it does make it even more enjoyable when you're buying a house. So, Mark, I want to ask you, do you have any specific areas that you specialize in?
Actually, real estate is where the business takes you. I do sell in the River Oaks area, which we've talked about, and really primarily through the west side of Houston. I could give you a lot of different neighborhood names, but I don't know if that would mean a lot to your LA listeners.
Right. But it's basically the west side. Now, if somebody wanted to move into an affordable neighborhood, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, how much money are they looking at for something like that in what people would consider a nice area?
Sure. Actually, there's a very nice neighborhood in West Houston called Briar Grove Park,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a neighborhood of about 1,300 plus homes. For instance, they could get a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath home of maybe 2,700 feet, sort of like the one you were talking about in the Bird Streets, although on a bigger lot for sure.
Right.
And the houses in Briar Grove Park, you're probably talking about right at 550, 600,000, I guess.
Okay. So
depending upon the house.
Exactly. So, that actually doesn't sound too far off of the LA market. I mean,
and certainly there are neighborhoods, obviously in every price range.
Mm-hmm.
If you need something in the 200s, you may have to go a little further out. We do have sort of the close-in suburbs, and then we have the far-out suburbs. Houston.
Well, you can't get much
Texas,
for 200 in
well,
LA.
No, you can't. Texas, of course, as you remember, is basically fairly flat, and we really don't have any boundaries that are going to keep us from growing. Right. So Houston just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So that does make for a lot of possibilities in real estate for people.
Yeah. One day I think we'll see the merging of Dallas and Houston. It's just going to they're both going to keep growing until they touch each other.
Well, right now it looks like we're going to merge with San Antonio, to our west. That's where we're really truly moving is the west side.
Right.
It's continually going on and on.
And it's truly flat out there. It's funny. Hey, Mark, I would love to talk for a minute about our where we went to college. We went to Texas A&M. We're both Aggies.
That's right.
Let's see a good whoop
Texas
there.
A&M in College Station, Texas, which is about an hour and a half northwest of Houston.
That's right. And on my first show,
home of Johnny Football.
That's right. I talked about him on my first show. Good old Johnny Football. Looks like you and I will be having to watch the Cleveland Browns now, I guess, right?
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
Hopefully he'll do some stuff. I was showing my son, which ironically enough, he didn't know I was talking to you today, and he's wearing a Texas A&M jersey. So you can see I've already started the brainwashing.
That's right, of course.
It was like with my dad. He was like, "You can go to any college you want to, son, and I'll pay for you to go to Texas A&M."
That's right. And funny how you did.
Yeah, exactly. And I was happy to go there. It was a great school. Do you happen to have any good Aggie jokes for us?
I don't. I'm sorry. I really don't at the moment.
I'm out of the Aggie joke loop myself. I have to think of a good one. I'll tell you, the one thing that I miss from Texas the most is Bluebell ice cream.
Yes.
And
from the creamery in Brenham.
We have a local Texas A&M club here, and I'm on their email list, and they actually had a party last week that I couldn't make it to, and it was at a place that claims that they're the only place in LA that serves Bluebell ice cream. So I'm going to have to go check that out.
Wow. For anyone from Texas, and especially anyone from around the Houston area, that would be a huge venue.
Mark, is there anything else that you want to share with me in the Houston market?
Just only that right now, it's a very, very strong market. It may be actually the strongest in the nation at the moment. Houston, whenever we have a downturn, Houston is usually the first to go, the last to go in it and the first to come out.
Right.
And we have had, unprecedented job growth over the last number of years. In fact, this year, we've had the highest job growth in 17 years.
Wow.
I've been told that there's actually 12,000 people moving to Houston a day.
Yeah, a lot of them are coming from out here. So if you're
is what I've been told, and the problem is, we've had 34 months of successive market growth. Every month for 34 months, but that ended in May, this past May, not because the market suddenly stalled or lack of inventory.
Yeah,
that's our biggest problem.
We have the same challenge out here. If you're thinking of moving to Houston specifically, and you need a realtor out there, reach out to me. I'll put you in touch with Mark. And make sure that you're well taken care of. Mark can help you all over the Houston area. And if it happens to be an area he doesn't work in, he can certainly refer you to another trusted agent down in that area. Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Todd, it's been a pleasure as always. And certainly, as you know, I absolutely love Southern California, love L.A., and so a big cheers out to all the listeners today.
All right, very good. And I'm confident that when you start your radio show in the Houston area, it's going to be fantastic. All right, excellent. You're going to have me as a guest on your show?
I would love to have you as a guest on the show.
All right, perfect. Thanks a lot, Mark.